Hi class, let's do homework together. This is page 82, lesson 3, integral exponent. It proved to be a difficult unit because of all this bracket and negative sign and like fractions and division. But well, let's do the homework together and learn from the step, and I'll guide you through one step at a time. I encourage you to watch this video over and over again. You pause to think about my steps, and then you just try to follow, and through time you acquire the skill that you need. Okay, now when we work with integral exponent, this is our rule. When you have anything to power of negative exponent, it means you flip it. When you flip, you take care of it. That's why you just write the positive exponent. So things on top flip to the bottom, things in the bottom flip to the top, like this. So if you have something like this, I'm writing on this side now, right? If you have a bracket, which means you flip both of them, and then n apply to both, right? You can write something like this. So these are the tools that we're using, and we're using the same tool all the time. When we work with exponent, another things that may confuse students is there are more than one ways to do it. You can either deal with the negative first, or you use exponent law to combine the terms before you apply it. So either way, so I will try to show different way in this video as well. Okay, let's do the homework together. Page 82, question 11. When you look at this gigantic expression, right? It's okay. Our job is to simplify it, tame it, make it very simple. When you look at this, the first thing is, hey, there's no bracket. Good. One less easier. Okay, the B could be harder because there's bracket here. Okay, when there's no bracket, one way is let's deal with all the one with a negative exponent. All right. Well, look at how I circle them. The negative exponent, since there's no bracket, only apply to the base. It doesn't apply to anything outside, beyond. So when I deal with this, anything that is not circled, that doesn't have a negative exponent, they stay. So I'm just copying those part now. Okay, you can see I'm using blue. And then the things that change, I use red. Everything that didn't change, I just copy them. Now, B negative 4 become B4 in the bottom. Remember flip? A negative 8 become A8 on top. So things on top go to the bottom, things on bottom go to the top if you have a negative exponent. If it doesn't have a negative exponent, it stays. So A2, there's no negative exponent, it stays. There's no reason it changed. The B negative 2 was in the bottom, now it's moved to B2 on top. All right, that's what negative exponent do. And here, B negative 3 become B3 on top, and A negative 2 become A2 in the bottom. So that's the first step. And after this, easy, because there's no more negative exponent, you just use exponent law. All right. So let me use like a purple color. For the number, 32 and 4 can be reduced to 8 and 1. So now when I multiply them, and then the negative sign and negative sign can be cancelled out. So now let's look at the number 8 and 8. I have 64 on top, and there's a 3 in the bottom. Like things on top, they stay in the top unless you have an operation to move them. Otherwise, they stay on the top. Okay, so that's one thing you need to take notes of and really be able to tell the difference between top is top, bottom is bottom, and you remember that. Now let's look at the A. Like we can do it in one step, we can do it in two step. Okay, since we're starting up, let's do it in two step. A2, A8. So I have A10 on top. B2, B3. I have B3, B5 on top. All right. Things on top stay on top. Things on top they can all group together. Things in the bottom they stay in the bottom, and then they stay there. So A2, B4. Finally, let's write the final answer. All right, 64 and 3 can't be simplified, they stay. A10, A2, so there's A8. B5, B4, there's B. There are more A and more B, so the final result will have A and B on top. If there's bigger number in the bottom, then the final A and B will stay in the bottom. Okay, so that's the first example. Let's try B now. Okay, I'll create more space here. Let's try B. Now, in here, since you have a bracket, you need to deal with the bracket with the negative first. You have a negative separately. Like if you have one big bracket, right, let's say like this, sure, you can flip them, right? You can flip the whole thing. But here you have negative separately and with the bracket. So let's deal with that negative first. Well, what do? Negative means you flip the whole thing. So the entire bracket flip to the bottom. So the only thing that doesn't have a negative exponent attached to is the 10. Everything else has a negative sign. Okay, so the whole top thing I flip to the bottom. See? I'm just copying, right? Like you don't think too much. Just copy the whole thing, flip it to the bottom. Now you flip the bottom to the top. Well, how about all the negative and all the number? Just copy them because I'm dealing with the negative 2 and negative 3 on the outside for now. Can we do everything in one step? You could, but it will be confusing. So don't do that. My suggestion is don't do that. Now, I still need to take care of the bracket. So for the top, I square everything inside the bracket. Well, how about the 10? It stay. So A becomes 64, P becomes negative 6. Oh, how about the negative? How come we don't deal with it? We will deal with that in a minute, okay? So I just want to take the step one step at a time, do it correctly. The bottom is become like this. Notice R0 times 3 is still 0. Basically, R0, you can just cross it out. Okay, now here, I want to do one more step. How come? Because I have this negative thing here, right? I have this negative thing here, so I want to do one more step. So, well, let's combine the number. So the things that I change, I, I use a color. Otherwise, the rest I just copy. All right, the rest I just copy. Well, the R0 is cancelled out. It's just 1, so it's cancelled out. The rest of them I just copy. Well, how about the P negative 6? Remember, it's flipped to the bottom. Become P6, like that. So now, finally, just write my answer, 640. There are Q10 on top. You have Q6 in the bottom. So how many Q are left? There's Q4. The R is on top. They stay on top. There's no reason why it changed. Both P is in the bottom, so they stay in the bottom. Why would they change, right? So B9, B6 together in the bottom is BP15. All right. So again, you take the step one step at a time. Take care of the bracket. Take care of the negative exponent. Negative exponent means flip. The things that doesn't have negative exponent don't flip, right? So just stick to the rule. Do it one step at a time, and you will get the answer. All right. So more example. I'm just give you more example, and then you can learn from the steps that I put here. All right, let's look at this. For this expression, I have all this whole thing in a negative exponent. What does that mean? Oh, which means I want to flip that to the bottom. And then I have all this in power of 3. Well, there's a negative sign there. Okay, well, don't do that now. Okay, right. Don't look at that negative sign now. Don't do this first. Okay? Well, what does that mean? Which means it's flip everything to the bottom and then become positive 2. So let me just copy the whole question. So this will be on top, right? I'm just copying the second part. And you flip the whole thing in the bottom and you multiply them. That's why you can just put it in the bottom. So I'm using red to represent the things that change. See, this is the things in here, but now I flip it to the bottom because of the negative sign. So in this step, I only did one thing, which is to take care of this negative sign. Nothing else changed. They stay, like this whole thing is on top, they stay on top. This whole thing moved to the bottom. The 2 stay. The only thing I taking care of right now is the negative. Because of the negative, I need to flip that whole thing to the bottom. Now, the next step, let's take care of the bracket. So you cube everything on top, you square everything in the bottom. You cube everything, including the negative sign, the number. Cube the negative sign is still negative. Cube the number is become 8. Cube everything here. I'm just dealing with the cube right now, so I'm not dealing with the negative. So negative 8, when you cube it, is still negative 24. So you have all that, right? The bottom, you square everything. Square negative is positive, square 2 is 4, and then you square everything. Square mean you multiply the exponent by 2. All right. Now, if you want to, okay, we can simplify this. Simplify the 8 and 4 become a 2, right? Now, if you want to, you can deal with this. Yeah, you can do everything in one step. But now, well, if you want to be like do it separately, let's deal with that. Just move that in the bottom. So The only thing I need to do is I copy the rest. See, I'm copying everything else. I'm copying everything else. Everything I'm just copying. And then I'm moving just the y24 to the bottom because that's what it does. Negative exponent mean to the bottom. How about the rest? The rest you don't change. So finally, this question, right? I like this question because they have x variable, 6 and 10. There's bigger one in the bottom, so it stay in the bottom. They have a z, 36 and 16 is more on the top, so you have the final answer on top. And finally, both y are in the bottom, so they stay in the bottom, and then you add them, 6 and 24, right? Because they're together in the bottom. Like in the bottom, they are y6 times y24, so it's become y30 in the bottom. So this is a really good example. Okay, so let's try D now. Wow, look at D. Ooh, wow, look at that. Crazy. Okay, so I have negative exponent, right? I have negative exponent. I have division. All right. I have also negative exponent inside. Hey, but let's look at the big picture. Don't focus inside the bracket now. For now, the bracket, let's just look at them as one package. Look at the whole bracket together, together, together. So basically, you just have a chunk of thing, like a thing negative 3, divided by a thing negative 2. So what do? You flip this thing to the bottom, you flip this thing to the bottom. So when you flip to the bottom, you can put it in the bottom of this. Okay? So I'm just flipping that to the bottom and change it to 3. I keep the division sign. See, things I didn't change, I keep it there. And then this whole thing go to the bottom. So these two packages go to the bottom, and then the exponent, negative exponent, change to the positives. So the only thing we did is the negative 3 become positive 3 when we flip to the bottom. The negative 2 become positive 2 when we flip to the bottom. Next thing, let me deal with this cube and square. I will cube the whole thing, I'll square the whole thing. To save space, I also will deal with the division. All right, what do you do with division? When you divide, you flip. Okay, so I will keep this thing here. Here I will cube everything. When I cube everything, this is what I will get, right? Everything, the number cube, the exponent cube, which means you triple it. Hey, I change it to multiplication. So the whole thing flipped. The one flipped to the bottom. This thing flipped to the top. Well, I don't want to write again. I will want to do the square at the same time. So this whole thing flipped to the top, and then I let me square it. Become 25, A 16, B negative 8. All right. Now I still have some. Now all the brackets are gone, right? So based on bad math, you take care of this exponent and then the bracket first. That's why I take care of the exponent and then the bracket first. And now I down to no bracket. Okay, I still have some negative exponent. Sure, let's deal with that. Okay, so I'll add one more line there. Anything that do not have a negative exponent, I just copy them. Right, this part, like you don't need to use a lot of brain. Just copy them. Well, the part that is negative exponent, let's flip them. Here we go, right? So if you need more space, just take a piece of paper, do it. I don't think there's enough space here. So just take your time and do it. In the test, I'll give you enough space. Now let's collect all the number. Let's look at the sign is negative. Negative you can put in the bottom, in the top, and in the side is the same. Negative a over b is same as negative a over b is same as a over negative b. Negative just means the whole term is negative. Doesn't matter where you put it. So let's just put it on top. And then let's look at the top by 5 and 25. There's 125. 8 go in the bottom. There's no common factor, so they don't change. Okay, let's look at the A. A3, A6, A16, all on top. So just add them together. 3, 9, A, 25. Okay, look at the B. You have B2 on top. You have B3, B8. Well, how many 8 you have? How many B you have in the bottom? B3 and B8. So you have B11 in the bottom. You have B2 on top, B11 in the bottom. So your final answer is B9 in the bottom. Okay, so hope it helps. All right. So I did one example. Try the other example. Check the answer in the back. And if you understand this will really help you. All right. Good luck. Bye.